been harmed or lost forever to social media. 4,000 is an amazing convening power, but also the perception of... In my speech, for me, what it is about balance. And if I have to do that, not a decision that I...
Hold on, because this one's about to get messy. New York, cameras everywhere, Harry and Meghan doing their thing for the photographers. But something felt off the second they stepped out. You could feel the tension through the screen. Harry's jaw was locked, his whole body stiff. Meghan, smiling like her life depended on it. Then someone in the crowd yells, "Stop using our children." And the whole vibe shifted. You could see it in Harry's face. Something changed. He grabs Meghan's arm, not romantic or gentle, just urgent. And rushes her inside like they're escaping. The cameras caught the smiles, sure, but they missed what was actually going down. Those weren't happy couple smiles. Those were survival mode smiles. And here's the thing nobody's talking about. This wasn't the first crack. This had been building for months. New York was just when everyone finally saw it. Before we get into what really happened, hit that like button and subscribe. Turn on notifications because what's coming next, you're not ready for it. Remember that Kevin Costner event from a while back? If you missed it, let me paint the picture for you. Harry shows up looking absolutely miserable.
Turn it to the right. All the way right. We have both of you right here.
Like someone dragged him there against his will, and he's counting down the minutes until he can leave. His shoulders are slumped, his face has that blank stare going on, and he's got this energy like he'd rather be literally anywhere else on the planet. You know that look when someone's physically present, but emotionally a million miles away? That was Harry at this event. Meghan's doing her thing, trying to engage with people, work the room, perform for the cameras, do that whole we're the perfect couple routine everyone expects from them. She's reaching for his hand.
Up close. A person that I know very well also knows her in person and in person.
Leaning in close, trying to get him to smile, to interact, to play along with the whole charade. She's animated, she's on, she's in full Duchess mode. But Harry, man's already checked out. Mentally, he's not even in the building. You can see it in how he stands there, barely moving, like he's a statue someone positioned next to her. How his body turns slightly away from hers every time she tries to pull him in. How he barely responds when she reaches for him. Just gives her this limp handhold that screams, "I'm here because I have to be."
Breaking today, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle still intend to travel to New...
His eyes keep drifting away, to the crowd, to the exit, to literally anything except her face. It's like watching someone go through the motions of a relationship while their brain is screaming to escape. The contrast between them is painful. She's working overtime. He's giving nothing. And the worst part, you can tell Meghan knows something's wrong. She's trying harder, smiling bigger, grabbing his arm more, overcompensating for his complete lack of energy. But nothing's landing. He's stone cold, unresponsive. It's like trying to get a reaction from a wall.
Holy mackerel, folks. They really hate each other now, and they cannot hide it any.
People at the event had to notice this. How could they not? The awkwardness was thick enough to cut. That Kevin Costner moment, that was the soft launch of their breakdown. Quiet version nobody really noticed because it wasn't dramatic enough for headlines. New York was just louder, more public, impossible to ignore. But the distance? That crack in the foundation? That started way before anyone was yelling from crowds or body language experts were analyzing red carpet footage frame by frame. The signs were already there, clear as day. We just weren't paying close enough attention yet. And what happened on that red carpet in New York?
Well, folks, it had to happen. Heckled, angry, the body language is...
That's when it became impossible to miss. That red carpet clip everyone's been analyzing. Let's break it down because once you see it, you can't unsee it. They're standing there, photographers yelling their names, flashes going off in every direction. Standard red carpet chaos. But then Meghan does this thing. She turns to Harry with that look. You know the one. That practiced, camera-ready expression that says, "We're in love, remember? Smile for the pictures, we've got a brand to protect." It's calculated, it's deliberate, it's the look of someone who knows exactly what image they need to project.
These two can't stand each other. And the thing is, that's very interesting because Meghan Markle is starting again to look.
And Harry doesn't even glance her way, not a flicker. He just stares straight ahead like she's not even there, like she's invisible. His eyes are locked on some point in the distance, jaw clenched, face completely blank. It's the kind of ignore that's almost aggressive in how deliberate it feels. She's right there, inches from him, trying to get his attention, and he's acting like she doesn't exist. Notice how he leans back when she gets too close, creating space between them, how his hand barely holds hers.
Let me share a number with you. 4,000. That's how many families the social...
It's not a grip. It's more like their fingers are just touching because they have to be. There's no warmth there, no connection. Watch the way he sighs every time she speaks, this heavy exhale like he's counting down the seconds until this is over. That's not love. That's not even that's pure exhaustion. The exhaustion of someone who's done pretending. And here's the brutal part. She knows. You can see it in how her smile gets a little tighter, how she adjusts her position, how she keeps trying different angles to get him to engage.
You just got me. How's everybody doing today? Well, we are...
She's not clueless. She knows he's checked out, but she keeps the act going anyway, keeps performing, keeps smiling like everything's perfect. Because that's the game, right? Never break character in public, no matter what's falling apart in private. It's like watching two strangers who got stuck sitting next to each other at an event, forced to pretend they're together for the cameras. Except these aren't strangers. They're married. They share kids. They built an entire life together. And yet standing there on that red carpet, you'd never know it. The distance between them isn't just physical, it's emotional.
Thank you for being here tonight in support of Project Healthy Minds, our partners at Upton Foundation.
And everyone watching can feel it through the screen. September, Paris Fashion Week. This was supposed to be Meghan's big comeback moment, right? The return to the spotlight, the fashion world rolling out the red carpet for the Duchess. Except, here's where things get interesting. That designer outfit she wore, borrowed, not gifted. And if you don't know fashion industry politics, let me explain why that matters. Brands gift clothes to people they value, people they want associated with their name. You borrow when your stock has dropped, when they're not quite sure you're worth the investment anymore. In those circles, that distinction says everything without saying anything at all. But the outfit drama, that's not even the main story here. What happened next is what really shattered things between them. Meghan's team filmed content at this tunnel in Paris. And not just any tunnel, the Pont de l'Alma tunnel. Yeah, that tunnel. The same place where Diana passed away back in 1997.
So there she is. She's angry. Harry's trying to smile because he knows the cameras are there. He's been trained all his life to smile.
She's there with her scarf wrapped close. Got this soft, thoughtful look on her face. Very cinematic, very intentional. Carefully staged. Now, Meghan later claimed she didn't realize where she was filming, didn't know the significance of the location. But here's the thing, and everyone who's followed her story knows this. Meghan studied Diana's life obsessively. She knew the details, knew the history, knew what Diana meant to Harry. This wasn't some random tourist who accidentally ended up there.
She's in Paris. She's actually maybe doesn't realize she's approaching the tunnel where Diana died. And then she shows herself putting...
This was someone who'd done the research, who understood exactly what that place represented. To her, it probably felt symbolic, meaningful, like she was connecting with Diana's legacy, honoring her memory in some way. Maybe she thought it was poetic, this moment of reflection at a place that changed royal history. But to Harry, this wasn't symbolism. This wasn't art. This was his mother. This was the place where he lost her, where his entire childhood shattered.
There. What is it called when a a marriage happens, their union, their sanctioned, their union. I don't think sanctioned is the right word, but that.
And now it's being turned into content for social media with the perfect lighting and the carefully positioned scarf and the thoughtful expression. That's when something fundamental broke between them. Paris wasn't just another trip. It was the moment Harry realized she'd crossed lines he thought were sacred. It was the moment the distance became permanent. Away from the public eye, away from the cameras and the carefully managed image, things got loud. Because when Harry saw that tunnel footage, when he realized what she'd done,
no one realized that Meghan cruelly deprived Harry of his freedom. The prince was caught by a snake around his neck and couldn't breathe.
everything came out. All the frustration, all the times he'd bitten his tongue, all the boundaries he felt were being pushed. It all exploded at once. He wanted answers. He needed to understand. How could she film content at the place his mother passed away? How could she turn that spot of all places into a social media moment with the perfect lighting and the carefully draped scarf? That wasn't just any location to him. That was where his life changed forever, where he lost the most important person in his world when he was just 12 years old.
No wonder Prince Harry refuses to make any eye contact with Meghan Markle in public. The real reason behind this is heartbreaking. At the New York Awards,
that tunnel represents the worst night of his entire life. And Meghan's response? It's not that deep. 4 words, that's all it took. 4 words that basically said she didn't get why he was making such a big deal out of this. To her, it was just a clip, just a moment, just content for the feed. Artistic, symbolic, meaningful in a different way. But for him, that place is sacred, untouchable. The one thing he thought they'd never have to even discuss, because obviously you don't do that, right?
This is Meghan Markle's sickest stunt yet. This weekend, she decided to invoke the memory of dead Princess Diana in...
Obviously, some things are just off limits. No questions asked. There are lines you don't cross, and he thought that was one of them. Get this. Harry defended her for years. We're talking years of standing up for her when it wasn't easy, when it wasn't popular, when it cost him everything. Against his own family when they had concerns about the relationship. Against the tabloids that tore her apart daily, analyzing every outfit and every expression. Against literally everyone who questioned their relationship or...
Did you notice Meghan Markle's chilling look at Prince Harry during the New York event? It revealed something truly unsettling. Meg
criticized her choices or said she wasn't fitting in. He stood between her and the world, over and over again, no matter what it cost him personally. His relationships got damaged. His reputation took hits. He walked away from the only life he'd ever known, all to protect her. But this felt different. This wasn't defending her against unfair criticism or media lies. This was trying to defend something he couldn't even justify to himself.
Watch closely and notice the small details that many people missed when Prince Harry and Meghan Markle arrived at the ceremony.
How do you explain away someone using your trauma, your loss, your mother's final moments as content? How do you rationalize that to yourself when you're lying awake at 3 a.m? You can't. And that's what made this fight different from all the others. After all the shouting, after all the explanations and justifications and going in circles, saying the same things different ways, something worse than anger happened. He just went silent, completely quiet, stopped arguing, stopped explaining why it hurt.
Watch closely and notice the small details that many people missed when Prince Harry and Meghan Markle arrived at the ceremony in...
Stopped trying to make her understand why this crossed a line. Because when you're that exhausted from fighting, when you've said the same thing 17 different ways and it still doesn't land, when the person you love just fundamentally doesn't get why something matters to you, quiet becomes your only option. Silence is easier than screaming into a void. It's self-preservation. And that silence, it didn't just stay in whatever room they had that fight in, it traveled with them. It became part of how they existed together. It was there on that red carpet in New York when he wouldn't look at her.
On October 9th, Meghan Markle and Harry strutted onto the Project Healthy Minds World Mental Health Day gala stage to accept the...
It was there. When someone yelled from the crowd about the children and he just wanted to vanish. It was there in how his hand barely held hers, in how his jaw stayed clenched, in how his eyes looked everywhere except at her face. That's what everyone was picking up on in those photos and videos. This thick, heavy silence between two people who used to talk about everything. The aftermath of a fight that didn't end with apologies and understanding and working through it together.
Meghan may have cheated on me. Before she kissed another man, she pushed me away with her hand. My whole face was unhappy at that time.
It ended with resignation, with him giving up on making her see his side, with acceptance that some things just weren't going to change no matter how many times he explained it. Later, Meghan put out the narrative that the tunnel moment actually helped Harry face his trauma or process his grief or work through his complicated feelings about his mother. Whatever the official spin was, it sounded good on paper. Healing, growth, confronting the past. But people around them, they saw it differently.
Oh my God!
Saw it as just rewriting what really happened, turning something that caused genuine damage between them into a story about therapeutic breakthrough and emotional progress, making it sound like this beautiful, meaningful moment when really it was the beginning of the end. The argument didn't end because they talked it through and understood each other better. It didn't end because she apologized and promised not to cross that line again. It ended because Harry realized something that probably terrified him. He couldn't make her understand something she didn't want to understand.
The last thing I'm going to say is, unsurprisingly, those that wear the uniform, when they hang up the uniform...
She saw that tunnel as symbolism and content. He saw it as sacred ground. And those two views, they couldn't exist in the same marriage without one person constantly compromising their boundaries. That realization that they fundamentally saw the world differently when it came to what was sacred and what was shareable, that broke something in him. Something that couldn't be fixed with a good conversation or a romantic gesture or time apart to cool down. And New York just put that brokenness on full display for everyone to see.
Mental health is shaped by public health, foreign policy, climate policy.
Real talk about what's holding this marriage together. Because at this point, it's not romance, it's not love. Let's call it what it is. It's a brand. And that brand lives and dies by one thing, the title. For Meghan, Duchess of Sussex isn't just some fancy name. It's everything. Her entire platform, her relevance, her ticket into rooms she'd never get into otherwise. Without that title, she's Meghan Markle, actress from a cable show that got canceled years ago.
Oh my God!
Just another Hollywood story that didn't quite make it to the top. Every appearance she makes, every event she attends, every brand deal she tries to launch, it all comes back to those three words. Duchess of Sussex. That's what opens doors. That's what gets her the meetings, the opportunities, the platform to build anything. Without it, she's starting from scratch in a town that's already forgotten her. People close to the situation have said it straight up. If that title disappeared tomorrow, you'd watch the whole thing crumble in real time.
Get both of you ready.
The Netflix interest? Gone. The speaking engagements? Done. Because let's be honest, they're not calling because of her acting resume. They're calling because she married into royalty, and that title proves it. Every red carpet, every speech, every carefully photographed moment, that's not just publicity. That's insurance. That's making sure she stays visible enough that taking away the title would be complicated. And Harry, his situation is different, but just as stuck. Walking away now means admitting he gave up everything for nothing.
Block her, please, please. Security.
Hi, Megan.
Security, don't push your hand, sir.
Hi, Megan. What are we here, Megan?
His family gone, his relationships with his brother, his father damaged, maybe beyond repair, his role, his purpose, his entire identity abandoned, his country left behind, all of it sacrificed for this relationship. That title is the only thing left that says it was worth something. It's proof he didn't just throw his life away. As long as he's still the Duke of Sussex, he can tell himself the sacrifice meant something. Walking away from her now would mean admitting he made the biggest mistake of his life, and who wants to face that? So they stay.
Security.
Hi, Megan.
Security, don't push your hand, sir.
Hi, Megan. What are we here, Megan?
Why are you pushing your hand, sir?
Not because they're madly in love, not because they can't imagine life without each other. They stay because she needs the spotlight that title provides, and he needs the validation that it was all worth it. She needs the stage. He needs the proof he didn't destroy his life for nothing. But here's what's wild. Staying together and being in love are two completely different things. You can share a house, share kids, show up to events together, hold hands for the cameras, and still be emotionally miles apart. And that's exactly what we're seeing. The title ties them together like an anchor.
Right down the middle. Are we ready? Right down here to your left.
But anchors don't just keep you stable. They can also keep you trapped in one place, unable to move forward, bound together by what they built, by what they'd lose, by what it would mean to walk away. But the connection that actually matters, the love, the partnership, the reason they got together in the first place, that's been gone for a while now. Every time they show up together now, it's like watching a rehearsed scene. You know when actors do press tours and they've got their talking points memorized, their positions blocked out.
Support tent, and it was some peer supporters from LA County Fire Department, and man.
Every smile timed perfectly. That's what this has become. The hand-holding, the coordinated outfits, those picture-perfect grins for the photographers. It's all choreographed, planned, performed. There's nothing spontaneous about it anymore. Look at them at events. In the official photos that get posted everywhere, they look like a couple. Two people standing together, dressed impeccably, smiling at the cameras, doing the whole power couple thing. The images tell one story, but if you actually watch the footage, if you see how they move through the space,
I'm gonna count to it without me.
how they interact when they think the cameras aren't focused directly on them, completely different vibe. They're strangers. Strangers who happen to share a last name and show up to the same places because they have to. Watch his face when the photographers aren't directly on them, when there's a break in the flashes, when someone else is getting attention for a second. The exhaustion is written all over it. You can see it in his eyes, that glazed over look of someone who's mentally checked out, in how his shoulders slump the second he thinks no one's watching.
Turn into the right. All the way right. Yeah, both of you right here, please.
In how he zones out completely when she's talking to someone, just staring off into space, waiting for it to be over. He's running on empty, just getting through it one event at a time. Meanwhile, she's still performing, still completely on, still hitting every single mark like her life depends on it. Working every angle, adjusting her position for better photos, making sure every moment is Instagram ready and perfectly captured. The determination in her expression is almost intense. Like she's willing this entire thing to work through sheer force of effort and commitment. If she performs hard enough, smiles bright enough, looks perfect enough, maybe no one will notice what's actually happening. Or not happening. The contrast between them is wild when you actually pay attention. She's in full Duchess mode, completely engaged with whoever they're talking to, animated and present. He's standing next to her looking like he'd rather be literally anywhere else. barely participating in conversations, giving one-word responses when someone asks him something. She reaches for his hand, he lets her take it, but there's no squeeze back, no acknowledgement. Just acceptance. Like, okay, we're doing the hand-holding thing now. Fine. When everyone leaves and the spotlight dims, when the event's over and they're not being photographed anymore, what actually keeps them side by side? It's not feelings. It's not waking up excited to see each other or missing each other when they're apart or wanting to share their day.
Urgent questions facing families today. What's happening to childhood and how?
It's the structure, the entire public life they constructed together, the brand, the image, the carefully built narrative of who they are as a couple. That massive operation they created that has both their names stamped all over it. That's what's holding this together now. They've got appearances booked months in advance, contracts signed with both signatures required, projects in development with both their names attached, speaking engagements where they're billed as a duo, a whole public persona that requires both of them to maintain it.
I mean, like, paying for a humanitarian award after, none of you have done like a goddamn thing, like
to show up, to keep the machine running. Walking away doesn't just mean ending a marriage, it means dismantling an entire operation, calling lawyers, breaking contracts, figuring out who gets what projects, dividing up the brand they built together. And when you've built something this big, this public, this complicated, with this many people watching and this many business dealings attached to your names, you can't just walk away on a Tuesday because you're not happy anymore. You can't just decide you're done and announce it on Instagram.
But I mean, what I'm also shocked about is that the press is not showing the heckling.
There's too much infrastructure, too many moving parts, too many people whose actual jobs depend on Harry and Meghan existing as a functioning unit. Employees, business partners, brand deals, it all relies on them being together. So they keep showing up, keep playing the part, keep doing the events and the hand-holding and the coordinated couple moments for the cameras. They show up at galas, do the speeches, post the carefully curated photos.
It showed the way for a lot of people. Being here is important. It's for me to say, I support you and I'm with you. And he's brought so much to this.
Maintain the image, because that's easier than blowing it all up, easier than facing what comes after, easier than dealing with the headlines and the questions and the I told you so's from everyone who doubted them from the start. But if you're watching closely, if you're actually paying attention to what's happening between them and not just what the official photos show, you can see it clear as day. They're going through the motions. That spark, that chemistry, that genuine connection that made them work in the beginning.
Angrily criticized her, saying she is exploiting her mother-in-law's tragedy for attention. She's an unscrupulous egoist. What should have been a highlight?
That thing that made you believe they were actually in love and would make it, it's gone. Completely extinguished. What's left is just two people stuck in a situation that's become too complicated, too public, and too expensive to end easily. Love stopped being part of this equation a long time ago. Now it's just logistics, contractual obligations, and keeping up appearances for an audience that's starting to see through it anyway. And honestly, that might be the saddest part of all.
Sharing a stage with her. When Meghan finally snagged the microphone, Harry's expression shifted from grumpy to full-on repulsed.
Not that they fell out of love, that happens, but that they're stuck performing a relationship that doesn't exist anymore because the cost of being honest is just too high. Here's the thing about relationships like this. They don't end with explosions. No dramatic press conference, no tell-all interview. That's not how this works. This is the slow fade. It'll be gradual, fewer joint appearances, longer gaps between photos together, more solo projects, separate schedules. One event she shows up to alone, then another where he's by himself. At first, people make excuses. She's busy with Netflix, or he's focused on charity work. But then the gaps get longer. Weeks turn into months, and one day someone's going to point out they haven't been seen together in forever. That's when everyone realizes, oh, it's over. It's been over. We just didn't notice because there was no announcement, just a quiet drift apart. When it finally becomes official, Meghan will do what she always does. Pivot, reinvent. She'll launch something new, create a new version of herself.
Mike, this is her going for the mic. But she knows that Harry's not going to give it to her. She tries twice. She's
New brand, new narrative, new chapter. The ability to rewrite the story, to turn an ending into a beginning. She'll come out with projects that don't need Duchess attached anymore. And Harry, he'll probably disappear. Not dramatically, just quietly step back from the spotlight he never wanted. Maybe find some quiet place far from cameras and tabloids. Somewhere he can breathe without performing, without being analyzed. Somewhere away from the chaos. Maybe far from her. This started as this massive rebellion that captivated everyone.
The memory of his mother being used as currency in the empire of publicity. So maybe the world doesn't need another photo, another statement, another apology.
The prince who walked away for love, the actress who became a duchess. It was the story everyone had an opinion about, and it's ending as a slow goodbye that's painful to watch. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's sad. Two people who clearly aren't happy anymore, who've lost whatever connection they had, going through the motions, because ending it is too complicated. Some couples fight until they shatter. Big blow-ups, screaming matches, dramatic exits. Others just slowly run out of air. The fights get quieter, then stop. The silence gets heavier. The distance gets wider.
Relationship can see my relationship with her. She might have planned to divorce me. I think I have to find a way to turn the situation around.
Until there's nothing left to fight for. That's what this is. A fire that burned too hot and finally burned itself out. What's left isn't anger or drama, it's just emptiness. Space where love used to be. And maybe that's the real story. Sometimes the fairy tale doesn't end with happily ever after or even a dramatic breakup. Sometimes it just ends. Quietly. Slowly. With two people who once changed their lives for each other realizing they're not enough to save what they built. So, what do you think? Is there any coming back from this, or are we watching the final act? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you made it this far, hit subscribe because we're going to keep following this story. Trust me, there's more to come.